Colombia, again, really proving their worth here at this tournament, playing some brilliant rugby.
Denmark and Colombia in Group B. Group B currently topped by Japan, followed by Australia. Whereas in Group A rather, which is the action we have at the moment, Great Britain 2 from 2, France also 2 from 2, but they are playing USA at the moment. That's on the other court. New Zealand won one, lost one.
So there was there's been a classification change on the New Zealand team, where Cameron Leslie, #1 for New Zealand, has come down from a 3-pointer to a 2.5, and allows New Zealand to run a slightly stronger lineup.
It does. I was looking at him there, and I got 3.0 in my head, and then saw on the list he was 2.5. That's a real benefit. There he is. Here he is, the 2.5er, who, well, he's probably now the best 2.5er in the world. I'm making a bit of a big call here, but he's one of the best. If he's at 2.5, then wow, anyone would like to have him in their squad.
Yeah, he's a really tricky customer to deal with. He's very turny, you know, very difficult to mark one-on-one.
Yes, it enables them to have Hayden Barton-Coots, who's a 3.5er, and a 2-pointer in Tainafi Lefono, so they can go a little bit stronger. Someone who's incredibly strong, though, is Aaron Phipps, through for another try, giving Great Britain the lead. HBC, his opposite number, Barton-Coots, goes this way and that.
Interesting to see the matchups that GB are going with. So even though Cameron Leslie, #1's a 2.5, we have our 3.5 player marking him in Aaron Phipps, and then Jamie Stead is marking HBC. So almost mismatching deliberately.
It's the 3.5 on the 2.5, the 2.5 on the 3.5.
Right.
I'll let you win that one, and you let us win this one, and then we'll see what comes out in the wash. Cameron Leslie, the captain, Paralympic gold medalist at swimming.
One of the strange things that you can see in wheelchair rugby is, although HBC, Hayden Barton-Coots, is a 3-pointer, his strengths lie in his passing and his hands. So he's not so much of a pusher, whereas Cameron Leslie, he actually doesn't really have full hands at all. But he's such a great pusher of the chair, so they have different strengths. So they'll be trying to surround Cam Leslie, you know, and make it difficult for him to pass off.
Timeout called by HBC, Hayden Barton-Coots, because he was going to struggle to get the ball across the halfway line within 12 seconds of the possession clock. You have 12 seconds to get it over the halfway line, 40 seconds in which to score. You have to bounce it every 10 seconds. There you go, that's the housekeeping done and dusted. 8 4-minute quarters. You have 4 timeouts that you can call. And New Zealand have taken their first one, and then those last for 30 seconds. 2 coaches' timeouts that last for a minute. Timeouts, you're allowed to make substitutions as well, so that can be used tactically in that way.
And all those times they get to go into their team and their coach is so important. You know, you can use those wisely, or you could waste them.
5-4 GB with their noses in front, and they'll be looking to keep New Zealand off the scoreboard here and get the equivalent of a break of service. And how about that for the hands that you were mentioning from Hayden Barton-Coots? Somehow weaves through there and feeds Cameron Leslie perfectly.
No answer for Aaron Phipps' speed there.
That's it, one of those where it takes well over a minute and a timeout purely to score for New Zealand, and then GB get the ball back, and 6 seconds later all of New Zealand's hard work is undone.
That's going to be the hard thing for New Zealand. You know, GB have the matchups really on them. Other than maybe Cam Leslie, you know, that our guys for their function classification are probably faster than New Zealand. So
yes, they've got Hayden Barton-Coots, and that's it. They haven't got Barney Koneferenisi with them this time around, who would be the other high pointer, the other 3.5. So the highest they can go is what they've got at the moment. That man Leslie firing it over the top to HBC, but that's as high as they can go.
Nice play there from GB into the low post of Aaron Phipps, and then passed it into space for Gavin Walker, who, when he gets going, there's no stopping him.
Gavin Walker, the captain. 39 years old, plays for Leicester Tigers. In almost his 10th year now with Team GB.
Good defence there from Aaron Phipps.
Tainafi Lefono trying to get over the line. He seems to be pointing in the wrong direction.
Really good defence there from Jamie Stead. He's, I remember him doing this to me when we used to be in training camps. He can just back up onto you and you can't move at all, as you're seeing there.
Stead, the number 12 there, and they are locked in there.
It's one of those things, you think you buy him and he just pulls back.
Where's he coming from?
Yeah.
You don't know which shoulder to look over, and eyes in the back of his head, Jamie Stead. One of a number of Leicester Tigers on the roster here, along with Nick Cummins, Jack Smith, Kieran Flynn, whom we may get to see a little bit later on. So an inbound, and the possession clock starting again. And that is because Gavin Walker is in the sin bin.
Normally you see, in a situation like this, teams trying to pin down the other high pointers on the court. So, you know, maybe New Zealand could have tried to have doubled Aaron whilst they were scoring, because, you know, in situations like that where Gavin's in the bin, GB don't really press, so you kind of already start your defence even though you're still scoring.
We had an interesting one yesterday, though, didn't we, in the GB versus Germany, when GB down to 3, and actually almost they had possession and trying to score 3 on 4, and it almost went for the entire minute.
Yeah.
Yes, the player remains in the sin bin until a point is scored or a minute has elapsed, and a minute never elapses, and I think we must have got to 58 or 59 seconds yesterday. I thought that I was going to tick that one off. That was one of my bucket lists. I'd never seen that before, and
good press there from GB, just getting the deny on New Zealand. Almost like putting a screen in front of all their players so that you can't get the ball in.
New Zealand having taken another timeout. They've a little bit of a change in the lineup. Nafi Lefono has gone off. Maya Marshall Amai has come on. She's a 2.5er. But when you play a female player, then that means you are allowed 8.5 points on the court as opposed to 8. Team GB making the most of that as well, with Kylie Grimes out there.
Then we have Nick Cummins and Johnny Coggan coming in for Gavin Walker and Kylie Grimes. Ooh, pass just a little long there from Maya. Just over Hayden Barton-Coots.
So a turnover, GB leading 8-7. There is Maya Marshall Amai. Inbounded all the way back to Phipps. And Phipps, the one calling out the play. Quarterbacking, you can see New Zealand in front of the key. Lovely little lob pass over the top and into the lap of Nick Cummins.
Yeah, nice pass there over HBC. Obviously, it's, you have to be careful of his high reach.
Exactly, yes. He's over HBC is not a phrase that you say very often, but they managed to do it there, and that's the break of service, if you will, for GB. Great Britain 9-8 and with possession. It's interesting that you mentioned Cameron Leslie, who is back on for New Zealand. As I say, I was expecting to see him 3.0 and then being reclassified. I was expecting the new classifications to come at the end of the group stages and before the quarterfinals, but is it an ongoing process throughout? I know there are officials here, classification officials, who are at every match behind the tables watching and classifying, so this one obviously was done a couple of games into the tournament.
Right, yeah, so I'm not actually an expert on this. I believe that players go into their classification, then they have to get seen play, so it never changes just after they get seen. Obviously you go to a room and all of your function gets classified, but they have to get seen play, and when they're happy that the change is necessary, they change it, and then for the next game they're allowed to play as their new classification. But I believe that no changes can be made after the group stages are finished.
Right.
So I believe that's the reason he could change to a 2-5, because as we know, the groups are only halfway through so far.
Yep, so he's going to be locked in as a 2-5. So New Zealand, if they can make it through to the quarterfinals, which is their aim, then that'll be to their benefit. So just the one turnover going against New Zealand after that inbound from Maya Marshall-Amai. So GB with the 1-point lead and possession, and they're managing to fire the ball forward and find Cummins with regularity, or get it to Phipps down the outside.
Yeah, it's really difficult to stop Nick Cummins leaking out long. He's very fast player for a 1.5, and he can really make that difference. He kind of inbounds, comes on and screens a little bit, and then he's always that option for that long pass.
Hayden Barton-Coots stretching out a long arm, saying, come and get it if you want to. Feeds Leslie, but Aaron Phipps is there, as is Cummins. You can hear the countdown. You can see it on the clock, and oh, how about that? HBC to MMA. Hayden Barton-Coots to Maya Marshall-Amai. That was a great play with just a few seconds left on the possession clock.
So they'll be doing the give-go here.
Leslie wise to it.
They're going to send this long to Aaron. Good press that from New Zealand. Just so difficult to stop Aaron for a whole 12 seconds.
.97 seconds to go in this first quarter that's gone by reasonably quickly.
Looking in trouble here, New Zealand.
A couple of seconds in which to get it over the halfway line, and does just about. Make sure he doesn't go out of bounds.
Got to get a bounce in soon.
Need to bounce every 10 seconds, and there's going to have to be a timeout here.
Needs help, doesn't he? HBC's trying.
He hasn't bounced it. Oh, he's got it to HBC. Well, it's making for some very entertaining rugby. I'm sure New Zealand would like to score a few easy ones, but it's great for us to watch. I hope you're enjoying it at home, wherever you are. It's going to be quite late. It's probably 11:30 at night over in New Zealand. So for those of you staying up and watching, thank you very much indeed. For those of you watching in Great Britain, 11:30 in the morning, we are equally delighted to have you watching, and indeed anyone around the world. Great to have you as part of the wheelchair rugby community. Down into the last 50 seconds. New Zealand need to get the ball over the halfway line. MMA is going to have to do something sooner rather than later. Oh, how about that for a pass? But Phipps is there.
Just a slight lapse in concentration there. Phipps was just looking down the court at the ball and kind of let Cameron Leslie received that ball in a bit of space.
Stead and Phipps. Oh, how about that from Leslie? And he gets over the line. 16 seconds to go. Now that's more than long enough for GB to score. Priority there was getting a point on the board.
So New Zealand will probably try and make GB score this quicker. So Hayden Barton-Coots is going to the bin here, the sin bin, because he left the court. What he was trying to do there was give his side some time to score again by trying to force Jamie to score quickly. I'm actually surprised that that didn't get given as a penalty goal, because Jamie was travelling towards the try line.
It was my assumption as well, and...
Oh, he turned away. So good play there from Jamie.
Leslie trying to push Phipps out of the way, but that wasn't going to happen. 4.5 seconds to go. It's going to have to be a Hail Mary, so if anyone can hail that Mary, really no, bad. It's a turnover. And Phipps is going to go through and head in hands from Le Fourneau. That was a gift, an absolute gift. Well,
have to be so careful in those moments. You know, you've got 4.5 seconds to score. What the chances really that you're actually going to score that? But now they've just they've thrown the ball straight to Aaron, who can cover half the court easily in that time.
Yes, the desperation thinking, well, we've got 4.5 seconds to score. You've also got 4.5 seconds in which you mustn't concede. And that was an absolute gift for Team GP, who get the extra turnover, and that means they lead by 3 points going into the first break. It's just a 3-minute break, but Great Britain with a 3-try lead. They've also got all 4 of their timeouts still in their pockets, so they're going to be able to use that later on. Disappointment for New Zealand, but that's perhaps the difference between a team looking to finish top of the group and a team life and death to make it into the top 4. So we've seen the giveaways here. First one from Maya Marshall Amai. And then some of the highlights as well. And how about Aaron Phipps? You know all about him. You've probably seen him whiz past you on the training court more times than you'd like to remember.
Yeah, 100%. He's being one of the fastest 3.5 players in the world, probably. You know, you often feel like you're chasing your tail a little bit when you're trying to stop him. But
stay underneath the start to see if you can pass you the ball. Okay. All right.
You saw that play he made at the end of that first quarter. You know, really clever play. He was switched on, and New Zealand weren't. And
yes, if you got he got, I reckon you can get past that.
Last 2 quick goals there for GB, moving it from 14-13 to a 3-try gap.
The press will be. Yeah, but I'm trying to get the right double. You and you on the double on Hayden, right? Because you can stay with him after. You 2 on Cameron, he can drop off then 12 out with it.
Probably in the hole a little bit.
Okay. So tonight to start with. Gav will be there. So your Gav will be there. So you stay underneath your man. So as the ball comes down the top, they'll cover that. Okay. Alright? So you're denying it. Okay. From transition as well. So don't just look for the big ball over the top. Remember, stay on your man to start with. You might have to receive it. Then you can go.
Then go.
Alright? Hey, just keep doing what you've been doing, mate. You've been great.
Go, guys.
Excellent insights there. We get to hear the Great Britain coach. Hopefully those of you, everyone at home can translate from Brummie into English and pick up on his accent. I'm actually from Wolverhampton, so I could understand that fluently. Listening to Tez, as he's known, giving out the instructions there. And I think his assumption was that Barton-Coots and Leslie were going to be on for pretty much all of it. So who was going to block whom? Double teaming on Barton-Coots.
Yeah, he was giving some useful information to Ollie Mannion there as well about how to play his role on offence.
Mannion, the number 9 there.
Yeah, he's had a really good tournament so far. He's his first World Championships. So, you know, he's had a good show out so far.
Mannion on, as is Jack Smith. Gavin Walker and Ayaz Buta starting for GB. Instructions and encouragement from the sideline from Robert Hewitt there. Buta bashed by Barton.
Yeah, first sighting of Ayaz Buta in this game. He's a brilliant 2.5 player. He's really tricky to stop, very agile.
Manages to squeeze in inside the post. Barton Coots again bashing into Buta. Need to get the ball over the halfway line, which they do, and it's Le Fourneau on the end of that pass.
Looks like New Zealand are trying to go back to the key and defend that. Probably not a bad call from them, as I don't think they can match up with the GB team man for man, so they try and do almost like a zonal press, but just defending that goal line.
That ball every 10 seconds. Le Fourneau barring the route, opening the door and then closing it. Trying to lure Buta in. The countdown, you can hear and see it. No try. The ball coming loose, Mannion not quite managing to corral it, so that is a mini victory there for New Zealand. Excellent defence. Well, as you said, Chris, good idea for them to come back into the key, and that seemed to work.
Looked like a last-minute reach there from one of the New Zealand players. I didn't quite see who it was, but great timing.
Well, the reach, I think you'd guess it would be Barton Coots to have got an arm in there, but either way, it's a turnover, and then you have to back up that turnover by scoring, and all of a sudden, it's a one-try game again. Full credit to New Zealand with the comeback. Oh, lovely, over the shoulder, no-look pass, and Mannion will make no mistake with this one.
So something GB will try and do, if they think they might struggle against New Zealand's key defence, is they can stop a person getting back. They might try and stop New Zealand's low pointer, for example, Gavin Rolton, from getting back into the key. So let's see here if they think New Zealand are pressing.
Finally, Le Fourneau scoring that one. Physiotherapist. One of.
Oh, this could be a long chase.
Not going to get there. Not going to get there. Well, that's a couple of turnovers from Team GB in the first 2.5 minutes of this second quarter. Le Fourneau about to inbound.
I'm not sure if that that ball was originally meant for Ollie Mannion, but yeah, bit of confusion there. Ooh. So we have a, as you saw the referee with the hand signals there, that's a vertical spin on Cameron Leslie. He did really well to catch this ball, in fact. So it's when it's classed as a dangerous hit from behind. The player can't really control a hit when they're being hit from behind like that. So
yes, Mannion not quite in the right position to receive that one. And Mannion now in the bin.
This is where you see a game within a game.
So, Caden Barton-Coots taking his time. And then you can see there's a lot of action around Mannion. And Mannion says, I'm going to inbound this, so let me out.
And what Walker's trying to do is hold Gavin Rolton, and then he draws 2 players. Instead of just being played by his counterpart 2-pointer, this looks like a turnover as well. Passing that ball there without any real vision. So we subbed Ayaz Butarov. You know, maybe trying to stop the rot a little bit, but we've given another turnover away there.
Yes, Jamie Stead back on. Barton Coots trying to show a path for Leslie, and that one, well, that was a line ball. As they say down under, just about managed to get that one before it went over the line. Well, whisper it quietly, but New Zealand have taken the lead.
Just need to look for GB to spread the court a little bit more here.
Stead to Mannion.
New Zealand really can't match up for them 1-for-1, so if GB can spread the court and, you know, make it as big as possible and move that ball as well. Ooh, Cameron Leslie very close to going over his own goal line there.
That was a tightrope walk, wasn't it? It was he was rolling along the line there.
Have to call timeout. Good defense there, Ollie.
Yes, and
Ollie winning the race and kind of keeping him behind, then Jamie coming and backing his teammate up.
That's what Team GB needs to do. They had a 3-point lead coming into this second quarter, and we're now halfway through that. And those 3 points, that lead has disappeared. GB 3, New Zealand 6 in this second quarter.
It's going to be a tightly contested group, this one, between maybe fighting for the top spot between USA, France and Great Britain. So these games are vital to make sure that you beat the lower ranked teams, but as we've seen so far in the tournament, the lower ranked teams in this group are playing brilliantly. And really giving as good as they get.
Le Fourneau to Barton Coots, who tries to barge his way through. Looking for Leslie, finds him. Leslie looking for a way through. Stead says no. Mannion on defence as well. Barton Coots gets him out of the way, and Gavin Walker steps up. Oh, how about that? Leslie and Barton Coots, what a combination.
It really does take the pressure off having someone that tall to pass to. You've got, you know, such a huge passing window.
Yes, you've seen it with Japan as well, with their captain, Ike Ukibono, standing so high, sitting so high in his chair, and then stretches up a big arm. Barton Coots, very similar, imposing presence, not just when he's performing the haka. 20 points apiece. Great Britain back in the key. Jack Smith comes out. Leslie sneaks in.
Great pick there in the corner from Gavin Rolton on Gavin Walker.
Stead now taking it over the halfway line, looking for Mannion, and doesn't need him.
Jamie showing his speed there. Great push from the 2.5 player. Oh, I thought Gavin was going to get that as he was rolling back then. Good defense from Mannion on Leslie.
Yes, he seems to find himself in that little area there, Leslie, right by the halfway line. Almost out of bounds on a number of occasions. Oh, finds Le Fourneau.
Playing with good composure, isn't he, Leslie?
Yes, all of New Zealand, it's not quite what we saw from Germany last night when Germany played their 4 all the way through. But I think New Zealand have found they haven't got great strength in depth, but they've found 4 they can really rely on. they're going to ride those four. The benefit of being able to play Le Fourneau and Leslie at the same time, as well as Hayden Barton Coots. Oh, this is going to be touch and go.
Having some great battles here, aren't we, between Mannion and Leslie? Both really agile and fast players.
And there we go, Mannion coming back in to block Leslie. Leslie, no way out. He's going to find a way. No!
Ollie gets the reach. Good steal from Mannion there.
Well, talking about the battle, and that little part of the battle there goes the way of Ollie Mannion. Bit of time management coming in already. Jamie Stead, and we see the steal. And apologies to those of you at home who can lip read. I think everyone could lip read what Cameron Leslie came out with there. Far out was what he was saying.
always difficult to censor live sport, isn't it?
You're talking to someone who has to interview Nick Kyrgios on a regular basis, so it's, you almost get on there and go, "Hi Nick, not safe for work." And yes. So it's swung this way and that in this quarter. New Zealand getting a couple of turnovers to get back in, back level, and then that steal from Mannion, sending the ball forward for Stead, and now it's Team GB who have the lead 23-22, and will have possession when we come out of this coach's timeout.
And GB have made a substitution here. Aaron Phipps coming back in, and Kylie Grimes coming back in, so the 3-5-2-5, 2.5 lineup for GB, playing with an extra half a point.
Yes, you get the half a point bonus when you have a female player. And Phipps trying to make sure that Leslie can't get it over the line, and Stead getting back on Barton Coots and making sure that HBC has to hand it off to MMA, because New Zealand have made a change as well. They've now got Gavin Rolton on and Maya Marshall-Amai. Le Fourneau taking a spell off, but Leslie and Barton Coots, they're going to stay on all the time, you would have thought.
Nice heads-up play there from Jamie Stead, finding his captain, Gavin Walker, who's just running down the clock.
Marshall-Amai coming in and saying, right, there's a limit to what you can do, I'm going to tap you over the line.
I would have thought GB would have tried to have got that kind of 55-second timestamp, but they scored it early. So given New Zealand the chance to get last goal, but
depends on how long they're going to take to get this one over the line.
But GB have 4 timeouts, so they'll probably use that timeout just to make sure of getting that last goal. So they'll run the 40 down, and then they'll have a 15 seconds added on for the timeout that they'll probably use.
Yes, 15 seconds on the possession clock, but obviously the game clock, as you can see, down to 37. Possession is 26.
Aaron's surrounded here, so need to be careful.
To bounce it as well, or pass it. Down to 10 on the possession clock. Leslie comes up, and there is the timeout. So with 14.2 seconds of the quarter remaining, you heard it here first, as I say every time when the predictions come in. It's not even predictions, you're not predicting what's happening, Chris, you know exactly what's going to happen. And so the timeout comes, and GB will have 14.7 seconds in which to score and take a lead into the second half. Phipps is through. Now, New Zealand wheelbacks, remember what happened to them in the first quarter.
And they learned their lesson there, didn't they? Oh.
Well, there we go. That was a Hail Mary, but one that was only going to go one way. It was either going to be a miracle pass or it was going to go nowhere. It wasn't, they weren't really going all in on that one. So, at the end of a very tight first half, GB with their noses in front, 25-24. They've got 3 timeouts in their pockets as well, and they use that one timeout excellently, and that's why they have that 1-point lead.
Yeah, a really good half from New Zealand. You know, staying within one of GB, that would have been probably more than they were expecting, but you know, they've just moved the ball really well. You know, the dynamic duo of Hayden Barton-Coots and Cameron Leslie really kind of moving the ball between them, and then they often have their 2-pointers leaking out in Lafona and Marshall Amai. So they've been doing well, but expect GB to rank up the intensity on defense. You know, you can see that they can stop this New Zealand team, and they've already blown 3 of New Zealand's timeouts, so expect it to be a bit harder in the second half.
Hayden Barton-Coots, who we're seeing there with 10 tries, dishing off to Le Fourneau. How about that one for a huge hit there on Jack Smith. Ollie Mannion came on, did some excellent work, scored 4 tries and had a steal, which probably made the difference at the end of the first half as well. Phipps, though, the main man, with 11 tries in that first half. He leads the way.
And we've got a real upset on the cards here in the same group. USA are playing France. And France have just beaten the United States, I believe, 49-48. What a result.
There we have it. Quick look at the statistics there. Great Britain, 4 steals, and yet to New Zealand's 1, and yet they only have the 1-point lead. So GB going to have to tighten things up, and tightening up is certainly what's happening in this group, in Group A. So that means that France, 3 from 3 at the moment, absolute perfection, and they have defeated USA. USA got the better of Germany in their first match, but they only have 2 points from 2 matches. So, well, this could be wide open. It's going to be wide open if New Zealand get the better of Team GB here. But the other side of the coin is that Great Britain have first place. Well, I say first place up for grabs. No, because they're going to have to play France as well. So it's an incredibly tight group. We've got the full half-time break here at the moment. As you can see, there are 6 minutes and 50 seconds of it left. So join us back here in just over 5 minutes. And if you like, go and watch the highlights of USA-France in the intervening 5 minutes. and welcome back. Well, as we mentioned to you before the break, France defeating the United States, so that means in Group A, France currently 3 from 3, 6 points and a plus 43 points difference. Great Britain second at the moment on 4 points, looking to make it 6. New Zealand on 2, though. They could join them on 4 if they can create a bit of an upset here.
And a turnover straight away here. Cameron Leslie stealing it off Aaron on that key attack.
Well, that's exactly what New Zealand needed to get this second half underway.
There you're seeing it.
Phipps in the bin.
That often happens when you get the ball stolen off you. You try and right the wrong straight away and get it straight back, and you know, he's gone straight to the bin. So they'll try and pin him in the bin there. And they forced Aaron Phipps to inbound. This might be tough to get the ball in here.
He's got Kylie Grimes or Jamie Stead to get it to. Gets it to Jamie Stead. He makes it across the halfway line and more.
He did really well there, Jamie Stead.
That was coast to coast. It was a lot of coasts. It was east-west, north-south.
To firstly receive the ball and then, you know, go through for, in the end, what looked like a pretty easy goal.
Barton Coots to Le Fourneau. That's the starting lineup that they've gone with this time around. Le Fourneau in rather than Maya Marshall-Amai. But obviously, Hayden Barton Coots is going to be out there, as is Cameron Leslie.
Aaron there using his speed. Break the half. It's really methodical here, New Zealand. You know, they're one pass to get it over the half, and then they get it back to HBC. It seems to be a bit of a theme.
Well, it's a theme that the GB are going to have to find some sort of counterpoint to. 27 apiece. Stead weaves his way through. Bit of crash and bash at the end. Well, the old commentary cliches, the next turnover is going to be crucial. Oh, and there it comes. Le Fourneau giving Leslie a little bit too much to do, and there is the turnover.
It was good offense until the pass. Good offense from New Zealand, you know.
Needed a bit of backspin on the ball, or maybe it was a different ball that's a bit less sticky than ones used earlier. Phipps deciding that the easiest way of doing it and making sure that you're not given too much ground to cover to catch it is by just keeping it yourself and blazing a trail all the way to the try line, which he did. So GB with a 2-point lead, which in the context of both this match and the group is huge.
It's the safe hands of HBC.
Oh, show and go. Sold him a bit of candy, as they say down in that part of the world. Leslie and Barton Coots. Oh, and how about that? The turnover is turned back over. Leslie's going to go all the way. Phipps wants to get it back, drops the shoulder, and all of a sudden we're back to 29 apiece.
Brilliant defense from Leslie there. That's 2 turnovers that he's been largely responsible for already in this third quarter.
Stead stepping it up for GB. He's been a very solid presence in this third quarter. Tez Walker, the coach, not looking the happier of the two at the moment. Gavin Rolton and Robert Hewitt are the player coaches for New Zealand, which is why we're not seeing a lot of them. There's one of them. There we go. There is Robert Hewitt.
So New Zealand going back in the key here. I was expecting to see a few more key defences from New Zealand after they got that.
It worked very well in the, I think in the, I can't remember if it was the first or the second quarter, but the first half either way.
And they also got that steal in the first play of this half as well. But sometimes it works, so, you know, mixing it up. Like if GB were to be able to attack the key every time, they'd probably work it out.
Barton Coots having to inbound, does so to Leslie. Leslie having to get out of his own key, which he does. Phipps blocks him in. Trying to stop him getting over the halfway line. Barton Coots show. And go through on your own.
Because twice he's put that ball up and, you know, GB have expected him to pass and he just kind of rolls through after, doesn't he? Clever move.
Leslie looking for the steal. He's kept Stead in his own half. And then the C parts.
Good play there from Stead.
He's looked very good in this third quarter, hasn't he?
He has. Excuse the pun, but he's bringing a steady, a steady mind to the game.
Yes, and he's just gone and had a staring contest with Hayden Barton Coots. Rather you than me, Jamie. And now it's wheel to wheel. In comes Gavin Rolton to help out. Rolton, the on-field presence of the managerial team. Leslie, captain, pops it over to HBC, who
the man mountain in the key.
But he's got a good touch for a big man, as they say in soccer. He managed to manoeuvre there, do a 90-degree turn, a jackknife. Stead, well, he's, half a steal.
The reach on display from Barton Coots there, just almost leant over him here.
It's incredible. I think he could, I'm going to have to hold on to the microphone here. I think he could reach off the court and come and give me a few tips. He's got that huge wingspan.
GB there on that offensive play there, had no spacing at all. You saw Jamie Stead and Aaron Phipps within 2 meters of each other, and that makes it so much easier to defend. You know, you can put the 4 chairs around them there.
That's the recent turnover, picked up by Leslie, who then finished it off.
We got subs for GB with Nick Cummins and Johnny Coggan coming in.
It's 2-on-2. Barton Coots. Leslie's back. Cummins trying to help out. Halfway through the possession clock, and Phipps just wends his way round. Knew exactly where he was going and how he was getting there.
Lovely screen created by Nick Cummins and Johnny there.
Very much a team game. We look at the tries, but the screens that people throw up, and this time it's, I'm not gonna sell you the candy, I'm gonna barge into you and then feed it. Cummins inbounding to Phipps, who goes this way and that, and again, needs to get it over the halfway line. Leslie can't quite stop him from doing that. Over the top, and just about there. Cummins stretches out his long arms. Change for New Zealand. Maya Marshall-Amai back on in place of Fani Lefono.
Oh, New Zealand got lucky there. Great press there from GB. And just unfortunately, Aaron couldn't quite grab the ball, and he tried to grab the ball and call timeout, as you see here.
He needs to be in possession of it. He just bounced off the front of his chair twice. So close. I think he was shouting timeout.
He was.
As he was at the same time trying to get possession of it. But at the end of the day, Leslie makes up for his marginal handling error by scoring a try. Everyone's going to make handling errors. Everyone's going to drop the ball or put out a loose pass. It's putting it behind you, because in a game where probably 120 tries are going to be scored, you're going to concede them all the time. You need to put those behind you and keep doing what the likes of Jamie Stead are doing, which is just getting the ball, getting over. Do your job. That was a good inbound in the end. Past Johnny Coggan, and MMA is going to pick that one up.
Almost looks like Cam Leslie, number 1 for New Zealand, has had a second wind. He's got a lot of energy on defence, reaching in a lot, you know, hunting impacts with HBC. It's almost like they're gaining belief as the game's going on.
Just a reminder, those of you who may have joined us during the match, perhaps you were had your attentions on USA versus France, with the French squeezing past by 1 point. That was on the other court. Maybe you missed at the beginning. Chris pointing out that Cameron Leslie's had his classification modified from 3 to 2.5. And the New Zealand very much reaping the benefits of that.
Yeah, what a difference he's made to that team.
Means you've got the likes of Lefono or Maya Marshall-Amai on, as well as Leslie and Hayden Barton-Coots, who is blocking Phipps. But Phipps, he's always going to find a way through. Could get where Olive Oil couldn't.
He does, and Johnny Coggan again working well with his club teammate to you know, free up that space in the key.
No. A handling error.
The long arms of Nick Cummins. I think he got a touch there to make that a little bit tougher for Imai.
So a crucial turnover, particularly with 81 seconds to go. GB with the lead and possession and the ability to manage the clock.
What a minute for Nick there. You know, I think he just got a touch in that passing lane and then scoring that quick reply.
Safety first from Maya Marshall-Amai. Give it to Hayden Barton-Coots. Leslie looks at the clock, but he's punted over the line by Cummins.
So they got that 54-second timestamp, but again, don't be surprised if GB... Oh!
Turn the ball over, you were going to say. I was surprised, I think you were too. Probably those of you at home. There we go.
Well, seems like every time GB get that turnover, within a couple of plays, they give it back.
Do they think, oh, we've done the hard work, and maybe you relax? It's often the case in sports where a lot fewer points are scored. Things like ice hockey, you're never more in danger than when you've just scored. You really need to get back, get on defense, get concentrating.
Thought Jamie was going to score there. They'll be looking for the last goal here.
16 on the possession clock, as you can see. That's in red. 15 now on the game clock.
Important possession, this one.
They need to score, and they do. So, Said it at the end of the second quarter. Wheel Blacks, don't try anything too silly.
Yeah, you look at the score now, and I would just imagine if they had just got that ball in safe. I think it was in the first or second quarter, was it?
It was the first quarter, the very end of the first quarter, that ended up being a 2-point shift.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the third quarter, 37-38. This game has been absolutely nip and tuck. Every time GB get their noses in front, the Wheel Blacks come right back at them. And so it's all going to go down to the last 8 minutes.
HBC there, you saw the replay, getting that still and the effort in his face to push to stop the ball going off the sideline. His hair swishing around, really is an intimidating character, isn't he?
He is. You and I are going to be asked to choose a player of the match at some point very soon. I think Hayden Barton-Coots is a candidate, as is Cam Leslie.
Yeah.
It's easier to choose when it's this close. There's only 1 point in it, and obviously the Wheel Blacks are sticking with those two. They've played virtually every minute so far, whereas GB has been sharing the loving.
Money ball coming on nicely.
Great performances from Aaron Phipps, Jamie Stead, Nick Cummins in the third quarter. It's a very well-balanced match.
I think Jamie Stead's had a really good second half. I always feel safe watching him pushing out the half, particularly in this half. He's looked really, really composed with it. And he's just got to try and get that message across to his team, because they will get turnovers, GB. And it's just a case of if GB get through this half without turning the ball over, they're almost guaranteed to win.
Some great highlights that we're seeing here, courtesy of our camera operators and in particular the director. Look at that, over the shoulder. Wonderful slow motion highlights.
See the sheer effort on everyone's faces, don't you?
Turnover, and then I'm going to get it, Time out! Crashes into, I think it was Cody Everson. So, quick look at the stats. 4 screen assists from Great Britain is good, rather than, you can see that New Zealand are passing it, they're throwing the ball around, particularly in between the top two, Leslie and Barton-Coots, but the screens that are being thrown up there. Johnny Coggan doing a lot of good work in that respect. Nick Cummins. 10 seconds of the break left, and then we're going to have 8 minutes. And we're going to have 8 very thrilling minutes. I can almost guarantee that one.
You saw there on that stat sheet, GB giving away 4 turnovers in that third period. Really going to have to clean that up. I think if they do that again, they could be in jeopardy with this one.
New Zealand starting with MMA to HBC, Maya Marshall-Amai. She's on at the moment. They're trusting her more than Fani Lefono.
Trouble here.
A bounce and has to get it over the halfway line, and does. Leslie off in the outlet.
Managed to sneak through there, Leslie, just to receive that ball off HBC. He's a slippery customer.
Indeed. Always remember legendary rugby union commentator, the Scot Bill McLaren, describing the fly half of France, Thomas Castagnède, as a slippery little eel of a fella. Points traded. GB with their noses in front, obviously.
It's going to be risky.
Oh, it's always going to be. That's the outlet, is throw it to Hayden Barton-Coots. He'll stick up a long arm. The long arm of the law. He is the law as far as Wheel Blacks rugby is concerned. He's been hemmed in there. Jamie Stead doing a great job.
Gets through a gap that wasn't there again.
Everson and Hewitt happy with that.
Now Leslie, New Zealand.
In the corner here, Aaron. He's got to stay calm.
Timeouts available, and there is one. But even when they're forced to take a timeout, ooh, that was close there, almost a steal. And then a called timeout. Referee right alongside him. And the New Zealanders applauding that to the rafters. Well, we've got to pick the player of the match already. And I think my vote's going to go for Cameron Leslie of the Wheel Blacks.
100% agree on that. You know, it's tough for HBC. He's also had a great game and some really good performances from some of the GB players as well. But as Drew says there, I really think he's been that standout guy for New Zealand.
Yes, it's an easier one to pick since there's such strength and depth in the GB team. And it could easily have gone to that man there, Barton Coots, we mentioned earlier, but Aaron Phipps has had an incredible performance throughout the match. He's had a lot of court time. Mannion came in the second quarter. Jamie Stead, who we're also seeing there, getting locked in by Rolton and Marshall Amai.
Don't be surprised if New Zealand try the key defence soon.
Oh, it's almost like a fairground. You've got to throw the basketball in to win a prize in between the obstacles, and that was what Marshall Amai did to Barton Coots. Barton Coots just stuck up an arm and said, throw it up there and I will get it. And then it was the give and go.
It was a really intelligent play that from HBC. He went down and took the defender that was marking Maya. He took Nick off Maya and was able to pass it to her for the easy goal, for the easy try.
Aaron Phipps doing what he does best, taking care of business. GB always with that slight advantage.
This is looking
well
good for GB here.
They've got to get it over the halfway line, New Zealand, and they have. And how about that? Maya Marshall Amai really stepping up to the plate here.
Such a textbook pick and roll there from Cam Leslie.
Inbound from Cummins, and all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, you can take your eyes off this for 3 or 4 seconds, and you know that when you look back, you're going to see Aaron Phipps making his way over the try line.
Great transition there from Nick Cummins and Jack Smith to tie up HBC so high, and he's forcing him to inbound. So let's see if they can capitalise on that. They do have one timeout left.
And ooh, that was very lucky there. It was never going to find the intended target, and it ends up bouncing off the front of Jamie Stead's chair. They're not out of the woods yet, though.
Yeah, it's always a bit more awkward to score from the corners because the space that GB have to defend is, you know, obviously a lot more congested. There's not as many options for where to go.
It's as if you've got an extra defender, one of which is the baseline and the other one is the sideline. It's as if you've got a couple of extra defenders there hemming you in.
And teams will practice, you know, offense from the corners and defense from the corners. Great pass.
Look at that. Plenty of the sticky stuff on the glove there to make sure that stays where it was intended, but they're not giving up. Cummins makes Barton Coots use New Zealand's 4th and final timeout. So this has been a laborious passage of play for New Zealand, desperate not to commit a turnover, almost have twice. GB doing everything right at the moment, and they're the ones with the 1-point lead.
Brilliant group defense there from GB. You saw Nick Cummins and Jamie Stead stopping HBC and Gavin Rolton there, 2 for 2. And then Aaron playing the passing lanes too. So, you know, that's what they need to do more of.
You can see the exact, well, everything that you just described there. We then saw it beautifully in a close-up, slow motion, courtesy of the camera team. Le Fourneau back on. Big one over the top to Leslie, who's just going to get there in time. Did we ever have any doubt that he wouldn't? I'm certainly glad he got it, since we just named his player of the match, as we had to do at the start of the 4th quarter. If he'd have fluffed that one, we'd have looked less clever.
In a bit of trouble here, GB.
Jamie Stead gets it
Oh, he
over.
does
Oh,
really
how
well.
about that? And draws a foul. Oh, take a bow, Jamie Stead.
Good strength there on the ball from Jamie.
That means that Cam Leslie is in the box.
You know what Jamie did well there. He predicted when the reach was coming. So when you're in control of the situation, so you know when that's coming, you can stop it happening. Yeah. Get an arm in the way. Get your
encourage
hand
a
in the
foul.
way.
You know where the arm's coming in, so you can put your arm in the way and.
Exactly. I remember when I was newer to the sport, and I kept getting the ball stolen off me from people with quick hands and stuff, and I vowed to myself one day to, try and hold that ball as tight as possible into my lap, squeezing it with all my might. And, if you go past people with that aggression in the way that you're protecting the ball, you really will give up less stills. Occasionally you obviously, you still might forget, but that should be your mindset every time you're going past someone with the ball.
Protect possession. That is exactly what GB have got to do for the remaining 5 minutes. They are 1 to the good. New Zealand
Struggling to get this in.
So it's give it to Barton Coots and say, HBC, get us out of trouble. Le Fourneau is back on, needs to get it over the halfway line, and it's given away.
Turnover.
It's a huge turnover. Phipps has it. He's going to hang on to it for a while.
Didn't quite see what happened off the ball there.
Down in back play is Cam Leslie.
Brilliant stop there from Jack Smith. Just reading that pass, backing up and getting his hands up.
Bit of accidental contact between Stead and Leslie. Accidental or otherwise, we have a turnover. Cummins inbounds, and GB now needing to convert this turnover into a point. And then make sure they don't commit a turnover themselves, because we've had plenty of tit for tat in this match so far. Oh.
That's really close.
GB fans around the country going, shush, shush, stop doing the commentator's curse, stop ushering in the exchange of turnovers. So GB get the turnover, they convert it into a point. They're 1 clear and have possession. Hewitt looking on, not a lot he can do. He's relying on Leslie. Barton Coots.
I would try and get, if I was New Zealand, try and get a few more of those key defences in. Whenever they seem to do it, it seems, even if GB score, it seems like a bit of a shaky goal.
That key defence there, exactly. It was one where it was bouncing around a little bit and could have gone either way. And the rub of the green went with the Brits. Inbounded by Le Fourneau. Leslie hasn't got a timeout. It's going to have to be a miracle pass. It's not going to go over the halfway line.
Great defence there from Great Britain. Jamie and Jack penning Cam Leslie in, and also keeping him face the wrong way, which made that pass so much harder.
1, 2, 3. Excellent work there. With a pick and roll from Le Fourneau, who gives it to Leslie. New Zealand fans, you can see in the background, cheering them on. Certainly done their fans and their nation proud. And it's not over yet. GB with a 2-point lead and possession. A couple of timeouts in their pockets. There's one of them they're using right now. I love the fact that every time Great Britain take a timeout, the New Zealand fans go, yeah, we've made you use a timeout. And
they celebrate it like a turnover, don't they?
Yes.
And they, you know, it's important to get rid of them, because if they can get rid of this last one and, you know, play the last couple of minutes with no timeouts, it, you know, it puts a lot more pressure on GB.
Very knowledgeable fans in the stands here at the Vejle Spectrum for the 2022 Wheelchair Rugby World Championship. We're around halfway through the group games. 3 minutes of this one to go. Could still go either way.
Oh, what a great pass.
Great pass, but Phipps certainly excellent work from Rolton to get Phipps out of the way. Clear a little bit of a pathway for Barton Coots.
Doing such a brilliant effort here from the New Zealand team. I mean, you know, 3 of them have barely been able to come off the court, have they? Well, I don't think they have, in HBC, Leslie and Gavin Rolton.
That's right. And then after that's been alternating between Fani Le Fourneau and Maya Marshall Amai.
In some trouble here, New Zealand.
Barton Coots gives it a bounce, he's got to get it forward. And it is gobbled up by Stead. And it's going to be a pick six. A pick six, a bit of a spin.
Good to see that effort, though, from Cam Leslie there. You know, not giving up, trying to get it back.
You could see him behind there, and he doesn't give up all the way. Body on the line.
Next game will be at 3:45. Switzerland, Germany.
2.5 minutes to go, and it's a 4-point lead now for Great Britain. Can they start resting some of their players ahead of the France game? It's a bit late for that now, isn't it?
It is, and, you know, with the way New Zealand have been playing, you don't want to, you know, take them lightly at all here. You know, if you make some subs and it goes wrong.
Still 2.5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Barton Coots and Leslie, they can turn things around in that space of time. Quick bounce. Barton Coots past Cummins. Not in there yet, though. Oh, how about that?
Pass.
The vision all the way across the back line from the wheel backs. Picking out Le Fourneau. Leslie.
Be a quick goal here for GB.
Yes. You know, Aaron, I think you'd better go and apologise to him on my behalf that I didn't suggest it. Well, we suggested him as the player of the match, and then ended up giving it to Cam Leslie. And then ever since then, he's gone on an absolute roll. 25 tries. I think he's got a point to prove. Perhaps he was watching our live stream during the three-quarter time break. Leslie, body on the line again.
He is a try machine, Aaron.
We will tell you who was the player of the match. Immediately after the game.
Leslie back up. 2 minutes to go. A 4-point deficit. Phipps sitting this one out, as he's the one who spun his opponent to the floor.
Spent a lot of time on the floor, hasn't he, Leslie, in this in this period? He doesn't have he has amputation in his lower limbs, so he's got a very light underneath the wheels, he's very light, so the smallest the touch is, he can come out quite easily.
4 on 3, and New Zealand being made to work for it. Timeout called by Great Britain.
And that was in order to get Aaron out of the penalty box that he was in, because he was trapped.
He was trapped indeed by Rolton and Marshall Amai.
Getting them on. Now at this point.
So there won't be much to say to the players here.
That's all we need now, all right? And we still got time out. All right? Hey, look, you did a great job on that, man, there. Jack and Jamie, I think I would say, we're letting him run, and then it's creating a mismatch on you. You know, like, no. Just go
When you
one
polish
side.
down there. When you're going to press, guys, when you're changing the meter, you're going to press. You're going to press.
Well, the stadium announcer doing a great job of keeping that secret there. It was very difficult to pick up what the GB coach was saying. Just in case there are any Wheel Blacks fans who are going to listen in on that one and pass on any advice. 90 seconds to go. A 3-point advantage and possession. Phipps hemmed in. Gives it to Stead. And the lead is back up to 4.
Just looks like GB have the measure of New Zealand now, you know. A minute and 20 left and a 4-try lead. You know, such a great competitive game. It was only really about halfway through this period where they got that kind of lead, wasn't it?
Yep, still just 1 point in it. At times early in the 4th quarter, and then a couple of turnovers. It's great pressure, the forward press or full court press from GB.
Quarterback play there from HBC.
It was, wasn't it? It was, the last minute approaches. Phipps is going to get the one
Good
over
pass.
the top to Cummins, and he'll have the wheels to beat Rolton. No need to take time off the clock. Rather be 4 points clear with a minute to go than trying to run down the clock.
Yeah, it was good communication from Aaron Phipps there. He passed that ball up to Nick, and then he was telling him to score it because of the timestamp that GB wanted.
Marshall
And
gets
another
it
start.
forward, and it's picked off by Phipps. And he's going to pin back his ears, drop the shoulder, get into the corner, take his time, look around at the commentary box and say, yeah, player of the match, and then roll over the line.
Oh, is he going to get it? Good push there from Leslie.
Of course he's going to get it, he's player of the match. New Zealand battling, every point could be crucial. Could be crucial for GB as well. Points difference. Who knows what's going to happen at the top of this incredibly crowded Group A. France having defeated USA. France playing Great Britain a little later on in the day. Phipps knocked over the line by Leslie. Leslie keeping him honest right to the last. And at the end of every quarter, New Zealand find themselves with about 5 seconds on the clock. Possession, throw on forward. This time it doesn't matter. And after a brilliant 4th quarter performance from the likes of Jamie Stead and Aaron Phipps, Team GB win it 55-50. But that was a great performance from the Wheel Blacks and a wonderful match all round.
Yeah, GB really kind of showed their class late on in that game, didn't they? You know, Jamie Stead being a really composed performer, and as you say, Aaron really turning up his defence.
Then we have the Grundfos player of the match.
number 1, Cameron Leslie.
A popular decision that we made.
Yeah, with his fans, it was.
You're probably going to be less popular with Team GB, and you can blame it on me. Great performance from Leslie.
I think at the time it was the time.
It was at the time, wasn't it? Yes.
You know, I think it was near enough a level game.
It was. I think it was about 37 apiece or 38 apiece, and then Great Britain won that one, going away. And that puts them level top of the group. Great performances all round. Aaron Phipps with 26 tries. That man there, Hayden Barton-Coots, 18 tries, 11 pass assists. A screen assist as well. And a great hooker to begin with. The screams you can hear are the New Zealand fans.
See these New Zealand players will almost be, you know, in their heads treating that as a kind of a victory. I don't think they would have thought they'd have been within 5 tries of GB at the start of this one. So when you see their faces, yeah, they might be a little bit disappointed, but you'll also see a little bit of pride on their faces for the shift that they just put in.